All right. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another live stream of Fast Break Bets presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I appreciate everybody for being patient with me as I was out on Friday and Monday, but we are back with another live stream live at this time, 11 a.m. Eastern, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. When I'm not out of town, those are the days that we're live, giving out picks for every game of the slate. As for today, we got 9 games on the slate. I'm going to have 10 picks for you guys and 8 units total risk. There's 2 plays that we have. They're going to be like kind of half unit dart throws. Everything else that we're playing is for a full unit, and then a couple leans that we're giving out. One update that I do have, it's not a huge update, but it is pretty exciting. At the end of every show, what I'm going to be doing is giving out a same game parlay of the day. So Betting Pros, constantly upgrading the app, added a added a new feature called the Betting Pros Same Game Parlay Builder. So at the end of every stream, I'm just going to choose the best game of the day and give out a same game parlay for that game. Even with the 2 days off, it was nice last week, exactly a week ago today. We did have another profitable day, 5-3 on our 8 picks, profit of 2.38 units. That now makes it 3 out of the last 4 days, or 4 streams, I should say. We have been in the green, up over 7 units in that stretch as well. We had such a brutal cold streak. It's nice to finally get on a hot streak. Let's hope we can continue that today. Make sure to subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel if you are not already. And then the most important thing is get all your questions, comments, anything you have, get that in the chat. I love when these streams can be as interactive as possible. I see some people in here already. Marcus too, hello. Appreciate you for joining. Jeremy Lee mentioning, yes, we went 3 for 3 on the fast break, the shorts yesterday. We're hoping that we can continue that success today. Looks like Gaffer trying to make history. Yeah, that's crazy. I actually did see that. 28 straight made shots is nuts. Now, when you're shooting every shot under the basket, that starts to make a little bit more sense, but that still is crazy to make 28 straight. Will Chamberlain has the record of 35. And the parlay builder is fantastic for those of us in prop-only markets that require parlays. Thank you. That's perfect. I honestly didn't even think about that use case for you if you can only use like the DFS apps and stuff like that. And you can use the parlay builder for that. Azana saying thanks as always for the great picks. Thank you for watching. All right. So again, everything in the chat, I would really appreciate it just to make these as fun and as interactive as possible. But we can get right into the slate. As I mentioned, 9 games, 10 picks. First up, in the Raptors versus Pistons game, I'm taking Cade Cunningham, 10 plus assists. I'm putting a half unit on this play. It's offered at plus 180 odds at DraftKings. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this game because it's Raptors versus Pistons. And just read the injury report for the Raptors if you want to laugh. Emmanuel Quickley, Gary Trent Jr. are questionable. I believe they both missed last game. RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl are all out. If Trent and Quickley miss the game again tonight, there's really not that many people left to play for the Raptors. But looking at this Cade Cunningham assist play, he's been playing really well from an assist perspective. And I think that in this matchup tonight against the Raptors, that's something that should definitely continue. Now, obviously, his main line over-under is over 7.5. That's his main line. I like pumping it up to 10 because I think that's where you're getting the best value, just unit sizing that down a little bit to only half a unit. But even if we're only tracking the 10 plus assist number, he's cashed 10 or more assists in 3 of his last 6 games. And in the other 3 games that he missed, still had a very high floor, 7, 8, and 8 assists in the 3 games that he went under the 10 plus assist number that we're getting. So if we're talking about the main line over under of 7.5, he's cashed it in 5 of his last 6 games. His assist numbers have been great. And now look at the Raptors defense. I mean, they've been bad basically since they traded away OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. But in the past 30 days, they're allowing the 3rd most assists per game, specifically to point guards. They've allowed 4 of the last 5 point guards to cash their assist over. That includes last game, Jamal Murray had 12 on an over-under of 6.5. Last time these 2 teams played was at the end of December. That was even before the Raptors defense really started to just free fall. And Cade Cunningham had 12 assists in that game. I love for him to have another good game tonight. I absolutely think it's worth putting a dart throw on him to get to 10 plus assists. If you wanted to be safer and just take his main line at over 7.5, I do think that would be worth a unit. I only track the official plays that I give out here, but just presenting the option if you'd rather be a little bit safer. I think the over 7.5 is a good play as well. Next up, Nets versus Magic. I don't do a ton of these. I'm just taking a straight mainline play, Magic -7, -110 odds at DraftKings. So the Nets, it's really not been a great season. They fired their head coach. They also haven't been playing well recently. The Nets, obviously this is a home game for the Magic. The Nets are 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 games on the road. And the Magic have been hot. Like if you look at recently and then you keep just extrapolating that out a little bit, the Magic are 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 games. They're 7-2 against the spread in their last 9 games. And they're 13-3 against the spread if you look at their last 16 games, specifically as the home favorite. Now, I know that's a little bit, not recency bias, but just kind of cherry picking stats while looking at games as the home favorite. But they're 13-3 as the home favorite, which is really, really good. And if you look at the individual matchups for how the Magic play versus how the Nets play, a lot of matchups favor the Magic. They've been forcing turnovers at the 5th highest rate in the last 10 games. The Nets have been turning the ball over at the 9th highest rate in that same span. The Nets, which is kind of funny because they've been a really frequent jump shot shooting team on the entire year. If you look at the last 10 games, they're attacking the rim far more than they usually do. They're attacking the rim at the 5th highest rate. That just means shots at the rim at the 5th highest rate in the last 10 games, but they're only 22nd in efficiency in shots at the rim. So yeah, they're attacking the rim. They're not doing a very good job of it. And the Magic recently and on the entire year are one of the best teams in the NBA at guarding the rim. The one area in which the Magic defense is a little bit weaker is on the perimeter, and that's not where the Nets have been taking shots anymore. They've been attacking the rim, as I mentioned. And then on the other side of the ball, for the Magic offense, they've been getting to the line at the 2nd highest rate in the NBA over the past 10 games, while the Nets are fouling at the 4th highest rate in the last 10 games. And it's almost flipped in terms of shots at the rim. The Magic have been attacking the rim like crazy. The Nets can't guard the rim. So I think there are a lot of reasons why the Magic are the play here. Again, I'm putting the full unit on them -7 at -110 odds at DraftKings. I absolutely love backing the Magic in this one. Comment here from Zana. Luka seems to have taken a liking to Gafford. Makes sense considering he's 6'10 and jumps out of the gym. Easy lob threat. Yeah, that's a good point. Gafford isn't great defensively, but he's really good in the pick and roll 2-man game with Luka. All right, we are 2 picks deep. Before I get into the next one, the bet that we just placed was on DraftKings. I want to get into just talk a little bit more about DraftKings Sportsbook. So the thrill and excitement of March Mania is here. It's March 13th. March Madness starts in almost exactly a week. And DraftKings Sportsbook, which is one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, is giving new customers a shot to turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any college basketball bet. All you need to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, or you can head to bettingpros.com/DK. Use code FANTASYPROS, that's all caps, Fantasy Pros. And again, new customers can turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code Fantasy Pros. The crown is yours. All right, next up, we're going to talk about the Bulls versus Pacers game. And I'm actually going to have 2 picks in this game. The first one is an under. Tyrese Haliburton, under 19.5 points. Best offered at -120 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. Matthew Chalk. My name's Matt. I don't know how I butchered that. Matthew Chalk is asking about De'Aaron Fox. Sneak preview. We will be talking about De'Aaron Fox when we get to the Lakers versus Kings game. So talking about Tyrese Haliburton, it's kind of been an interesting year for him, right? Like at the beginning of the year, leading up into the play-in tournament, he was the darling of the NBA. He was passing the ball all around the gym. He was making step back, pull up 3-pointers, and then skipping as he was jogging back down the court. But, excuse me. If you look at how Haliburton has been playing recently, he's kind of slowed down a lot, both from a playmaking and a scoring perspective. You just don't see him completely control the game like you used to. Now, he has gone over this number in 2 of his last 3 games, so we are fading immediate recent results, but he's gone under in 7 of his last 10. So his immediate results have not really been not really been the case if you look at a wider sample size. Like I said, his last 10, he's gone under in 7 of his last 10, and that includes going over in 2 of his last 3. And then looking at the matchup tonight against the Bulls, it's just a brutal matchup for point guards in general, especially point guards like Tyrese Haliburton. The Bulls are giving up the second fewest points per game, both to Haliburton's shooting and his scoring profile. And that makes sense. The Bulls are also giving up the third fewest points per game to point guards over the entire season. So they don't give up a ton of points to point guards. They also don't give up a ton of points, specifically how Tyrese Haliburton scores. And we can dive into that a little bit as well. So the Bulls allow the second fewest points per game to pick and roll ball handlers, and the second fewest points via transition as well. Now, the most important one, I'm laughing at a comment. The irony of Matt mispronouncing Matthew. It's very funny. The most important stat here is the pick and roll ball handler. Haliburton scores the most points on the Pacers as the main pick and roll ball handler by far. He averages over 9 points per game as the main pick and roll ball handler. The next closest guy is TJ McConnell at 5.2. He almost doubles him up. And then transition, Haliburton scores the second most points via transition as well. So that one's not as important. He doesn't score a ton of transition points. It's just, if that's 4 points a game that he's getting normally, maybe he's going getting 2 tonight. And all that stuff adds up, especially an over-under of 19.5 isn't super high either. If you're asking why the Bulls are such a tough matchup for point guard points specifically, there are 2 reasons why. Number one, they send a ton of help. They're one of the most aggressive teams in terms of sending help if someone is dribbling in the inside, is dribbling towards the paint, dribbling towards the rim. They also have one of the best on-ball guard defenders in the NBA in Alex Caruso. He doesn't really get taken by the dribble, get broken down by the dribble very often. And when he does, or if a team just sends a pick and the point guard is able to penetrate into the interior, they're really aggressive in sending help, whether that's crashing down from the wings, whether that's having the big man help off of his guy to stop the guy driving. They send a ton of help. That also means that point guards do get a lot of assists against the Bulls. But I think the better play is Haliburton's under points. So that's what I'm riding with. Absolutely love that play. Next up, same game, Bulls Pacers. DeMar DeRozan over 23.5 points. This is also best offered at -120 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. That's not a typo. That's the best odds for both. So DeMar's sneakily been a wagon for us recently. If you've been following the shorts, I think we've gone with him 4 times in the past maybe month or so, and he's cashed 3 of those 4 times. He's only not gone over when we've had him 1 time. And it's a really great matchup for him against the Pacers. The Pacers are giving up the most points per game to his shooting profile and the 4th most to his scoring profile. And kind of similar, if you dive into the numbers, it makes sense why DeMar is such a good matchup against the Pacers. So the Pacers defense allows, since the All-Star break, the second most made shots in the restricted area specifically. Now, that's one area in which DeMar, he doesn't get to the rim a ton, right? He still takes the 4th most shots in the restricted area on the Bulls, but really where he shines is every other category in which the Pacers defense is weak. They give up the 5th most mid-range attempts in the NBA since the All-Star break. That's exactly what DeMar DeRozan lives off of, the mid-range. He's the mid-range merchant. The Pacers are giving up the second most made 2-point pull-up shots specifically. Again, that just screams DeMar. And then it gets even sillier from here. The Pacers are giving up the most points in the NBA via isolation. The most points in the NBA I don't know why I keep saying NBA via the pick and roll ball handler. Most points in the NBA on points via handoff, and the most points in the NBA in points off players off of screens as well. In all 4 of those categories, ISO, pick and roll, handoff, off screen, DeMar leads the Bulls in scoring in all 4 of those categories. The only note that I want to make is if you look at the entire season, the only person that scores more via handoff is Zach LaVine, who's obviously been out forever and is out for this game as well. Every area in which the Pacers defense is weak, except for shots in the restricted area, is where DeMar scores for the Bulls. And as I mentioned, DeMar has been playing great recently. He's gone over this number in 7 of his last 10 games and in 12 of his last 15 as well. Now, we did miss it last game, but that was a game in which he only played 22 minutes because they got blown out literally in the first quarter. Even if they get blown out again tonight, it's unlikely to happen so quickly in the first quarter that he should play a normal allotment of minutes, definitely more than 22. So I love DeMar DeRozan over his point total in this one. Next up, our fifth pick of the slate. And I know that the first 5 picks are going by kind of slowly. The next 5, we got some gross games. Those are going to go by a little bit quicker. Then, of course, we have the SGP at the end. But Nuggets versus Heat game, and I will say this is the game in which we are going to have the SGP. This is the best game of the slate by far, especially when you consider the fact that, Lakers Kings is good. Warriors Mavericks is good in theory, but Steph's out. So the SGP is going to be in the Nuggets versus Heat. And the play that we are taking is Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 made 3-pointers. Best offered on DraftKings at -115 odds. I believe it's at -125 now. Yeah, as you can see on the screen here. I would still take it at that number. I would still take it at -125 and put a full unit on it. I'm also going to ladder him to 4+ made 3-pointers as well. I was able to get that at +220 for a half unit. Whatever it's offered at now, I would just put a half unit on it. So these two teams played at the end of February, the Heat and the Nuggets, and I had this exact play. I had the over 2.5 for a full unit, and I had the 4+ for a half unit. He made 4 3-pointers in that game. The odds are basically the exact same, and as is the logic, so I figured I might as well run it back. The logic being, Michael Porter Jr. is the preeminent catch and shoot guy for the Nuggets. He, since the All-Star, on the entire season, but even more recently, since the All-Star break, he's attempting 4.9 catch and shoot 3-pointers for the Nuggets. That's the most by far. The next closest guy is at 3.2. So he's 1.7 per game attempts more than the second highest guy. And he's been shooting well since the All-Star break as well. He's making 2.2 of these 3-point attempts, shooting 45% on catch and shoot 3-point opportunities. He also takes and makes both the most corner threes and the above the break threes for the Nuggets as well. Basically saying he takes the most 3-pointers on the Nuggets, specifically via the catch and shoot, which is where the Heat defense is the weakest compared to the rest of the NBA, especially on the corner, right? The two areas in which they're weak is the corner and catch and shoot. Now, those are obviously correlated, but I'm looking at them separately. The Heat are giving up the 5th most corner 3-point attempts in the NBA. In terms of catch and shoot, they're allowing the 5th most both made and attempted as well. Last time these two teams played, Michael Porter Jr. went 4 of 10 from 3-point range. That was on February 29th. Overall, Michael Porter Jr. has made at least 3 3-pointers in 4 of his last 6 games and at least 4 3-pointers in 3 of his last 6. So he's been shooting well. He's got a great matchup to continue to shoot well. I see no reason why we shouldn't continue to ride with Michael Porter Jr. So that's what we're doing. 5 picks. We're halfway done. The perfect time to talk to you about a 1-year premium subscription giveaway. So if you want a chance to win a premium 1-year subscription to Betting Pros, a place where you can start betting smarter, not harder, all you need to do is subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Hopefully you're already doing that. If not, please click that subscribe button and then comment below on the video. You do those 2 things, that's how you get entered. We'll announce a winner right here on the channel, so make sure to turn notifications on so you can be alerted when new episodes are up. Come and claim your prize. 1-year premium subscription giveaway. Subscribe and comment. All right, next game, maybe the worst game in NBA history, Hornets versus Grizzlies. I don't want to butcher this guy's name. Vasilije Micic, I believe is how you pronounce it. At least the Micic part, I'm pretty confident is right. But we're taking him under 7.5 assists. This is at -140 odds at DraftKings. I don't love the -140 odds, but what I do love, absolutely love, is that it is a 5-star positive expected value banger via Betting Pros. They project Micic to have closer to 5.5 assists. They give him close to an 80% chance of covering this number for us, 79.7% chance of going under to be exact. Positive expected value play of 36.6%. That's amazing. Let's not spend any more time on Hornets versus Grizzlies. Let's move on to Cavaliers versus Pelicans. And this is another mainline play that I really like. I like taking the Pelicans -6.5, best offered at -115 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. Another way in which you can use the app, you can use it to find positive EV bangers like I just mentioned, or you can use it to line shop mainline plays, find the best offered price on totals, money lines, spreads. That's what I did for this one. Most books have this at 7. We were able to get it at 6.5. Now, I want to wait until the Donovan Mitchell news to officially lock anything in, which is why you see it listed here as a lean as opposed to a full unit McSlam. But this is an excellent spot to back the Pelicans. They've just been on fire. They're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games. Over the last 10 games, they have the second best net rating in the entire NBA. And the Cavs, they're banged up. They also just haven't been playing well recently, right? They had that stretch January into February where they were amazing. I think they lost 1 game out of like 20, something ridiculous like that. They've not been playing good basketball for a long time now. In the past 10 games, they have the 20th ranked net rating in the NBA. So Pelicans are second, Cavs are 20th. And what really concerns me is the fact that the Cavs defense is ranked 17th in terms of defensive net rating over the past 10 games. When the Cavs went on their hot streak, it was on the backs of their defense. Their defense was phenomenal. Now their defense isn't playing well, and Donovan Mitchell isn't there to bail them out, maybe he's back tonight, but he hasn't been there to bail them out, making a ton of jump shots and tough shots and stuff. So the Pelicans have been hot. They're a team that always makes me scared to back because they're kind of inconsistent. But when they're in the middle of a heater like this, I see no reason why we shouldn't continue to back them. And that's why I like the Pelicans as our play here. Again, I'm waiting until we get news on Donovan Mitchell. Right now, I believe he's expected to play, but he's listed as questionable. But the Pelicans are a great play. So if you want to lock it in right now, I won't blame you. We're 7 picks down. We have 3 picks to go, and then we also have the SGP as well. But before we get into our next pick, I want to talk to you about the Betting Pros Discord. If you're looking to up your game in sports betting, look no further than the exclusive Discord community at bettingpros.com/chat. In the Discord, Betting Pros has gathered a team of expert handicappers, providing you with 3 picks for whatever sport is going on at that time of year. When I first started doing these streams in October, it was for the NFL and college football. Now, as I mentioned, we're in the middle of March. March Madness is upon us. Perfect time to get in on Discord, find plays for March Madness. You can find not only March Madness, but NBA, NHL, golf, soccer, whatever you're looking for, player props, live betting, futures. All of that is in the Discord. Get in on the action, connect with like-minded sports betting enthusiasts such as yourselves. Elevate your own betting strategy by gaining insights from the pros. Join us in the Discord today. Take your sports betting experience to the next level. Matthew Chalk, pronounced it correctly that time. Cavs played 4 of 6 days when they lost to the Suns. I believe that's what that says. It cut off a little bit for me. Cavs have just not been playing great. All right, next game, which should have been a good game, but no Steph Curry really makes it tough. Warriors versus Mavericks. I do have a play on Warriors players that I do really like. Klay Thompson, over 4.5 made 3-pointers. Best offered plus 140 odds at DraftKings. Just putting a half unit on this one because it's a little bit of a steeper play in terms of odds and win percentage. I still really like it. I really like this angle for Klay. Since the All-Star break, the Mavericks defense has sneakily, or maybe not sneakily if you've been following, unable to guard the three-point line. They just simply have not been able to guard the three-point line since the All-Star break. They're literally giving up the most made corner three-pointers since the All-Star break on the 3rd most attempts as well. So it's a little bit of teams shooting better than they should, but it's like they're giving up the most made on the 3rd most attempts. You can't really claim that it's just unlucky on guys shooting well against them. Unsurprisingly, they have also given up the most made catch and shoot 3-point opportunities in that time frame as well. Obviously, those two are correlated, but still the most made corner threes, the most made catch and shoot 3-pointers. And with Steph out of the lineup, Klay takes the most 3-pointers on the Warriors by far. If you isolate the data, specifically when Steph is off the court, Klay takes about 11.7 3-point attempts per 36 minutes, so about 12 per 36. The next closest guy attempts 8 3-pointers per 36. So not even if there are guys that just come in, play 10 minutes and chuck, even those guys don't come close to averaging the amount of 3-point attempts that Klay does with Steph off the court. Klay also, unsurprisingly, takes the most corner threes and the most catch and shoot 3-pointers as well. If you isolate the data since the All-Star break, he's actually making more catch and shoot opportunities than Steph is. Obviously, Steph, a lot more pull-up, a lot more above the break, but specifically in catch and shoot and corner, which is where the Mavs defense is weakest, that screams Klay, even if you include Steph in the data as well. In terms of catch and shoot 3-point attempts, only Steph is attempting more, and he's out tonight, but Klay's been shooting better on his attempts, so he's making more than Steph since the All-Star break. Also, with Steph off the court, Klay is taking about 2 more 3-point attempts per 36 minutes. I absolutely love this as a dart throw. half unit play. Next up, Hawks versus Blazers, another disgusting game that we don't have to spend a lot of time on. I'm taking Dejounte Murray under 41.5 points, rebounds, assists. Best offered at -120 odds per the Betting Pros consensus. I think we probably jumped the shark on Dejounte Murray and his PRA. I was guilty of this. A lot of people are guilty of falling in love with hammering all of his props when Trey first went out. The books have caught up. No longer is there value on betting Dejounte Murray overs. Now, honestly, the value's on the under. If you look at the PRA number of 41.5, he's only gone over this number in 4 of 15 games that Trey has missed this year. He averages about 39.3 points, rebounds, assists in the 15 games that Trey has missed. Now, I'm not saying take the under because he averages under that amount. I think that is flawed logic. All I'm saying to you is how high the points, rebounds, assist number has gotten. I will admit, the Blazers are not good at all. They at least have Scoot back in this lineup. Ayton's back in the lineup. They might get Jeremy Grant back as well. Now, Brogdon is still out. And I'm not sitting here telling you that they're an excellent defense by any means. But since the All-Star break, they have the 20th ranked net rating in the NBA. Yeah, that's not good at all. It's also not among the worst either. And if you look at the individual matchups, so like how do his point props match up against the Blazers defense? How does the rebounds prop? How does the assist prop? Neither of those does he have a plus matchup in terms of each individual category of points, rebounds, assists. None of them are a plus matchup against the Blazers. So I think the under is a really sharp play here. I think a lot of people just loved taking his over when Trae Young is out, and I'm guilty of that. But at some point, the numbers just get too high. All right, next up, last pick of the evening before we get into our SGP, Lakers versus Kings game. And I promised Matthew that I would get there. De'Aaron Fox over 27.5 points, -110 odds per the Betting Pros consensus is the best price. Or you can see what DraftKings is offering it on the score here, or on the screen here. I'm also going to take him as a ladder play to 30-plus points as well. I'm putting a half unit on that. I only track the mainline plays, but I like to tell people when I'm laddering something if they want to tail me on that. So Fox, we went with him last night on our short. We went with his 3-point prop. He cashed that for us. Luckily, he's been pretty good on the second night of back-to-backs, and he only played 33 minutes last night, so it's not, they blew out the Bucks. It's not like he played I'm not necessarily scared. Also, he's gone over 27.5 points in 3 of his last 4 games in which he's played on the second night of a back-to-back. And in the one game he missed, he scored exactly 27. So if he scored 27 tonight, that would hurt. But more often than not, recently, he's been playing well on the second night of a back-to-back. And as I mentioned, he played limited minutes last night. And this is just such a good matchup for De'Aaron Fox against the Lakers. He's cashed this in all 3 games against the Lakers this year. He's actually scored 30 or more points in 2 of the 3 games against the Lakers. Last time he played them 1 week ago, he scored 44 points. If you date back to last year, Fox has scored 28 or more points in 6 of 7 games against the Lakers. It makes sense. They're giving up the 5th most points per game to a shooting profile. The reality is the Lakers don't have great guard defenders. And the guard defenders that they do have, they have size, not speed. Quick twitch, really fast, explosive guys like De'Aaron Fox give the Lakers trouble. Even though he's on the second night of a back-to-back, I think he's going to continue to give them trouble tonight. That's our last play. Now let's get to this same game parlay. I'm very excited to add this segment at the end of every stream. So the same game parlay, as I mentioned, is going to be in the Nuggets versus Heat game. It's plus 500 odds. And the play, there's going to be 3. It's a 3-leg. Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 made 3-pointers. I already talked about why I'm on that one. The last 2 plays, Nikola Jokic over 8.5 assists and Jimmy Butler over 21.5 points. So we already talked about Michael Porter Jr. The other 2 plays, they're positive expected value player props that I found via the Betting Pros app. Obviously, you're going to want to unit size responsibly when you're betting same game parlays because the increased odds means a lower likelihood. But the Betting Pros same game parlay builder is an excellent tool for big games such as this. So that was my same game parlay of the day. If you are looking to build your own, maybe you want to use it on a different game. Maybe you like Warriors Mavericks. Maybe you're a sicko and you want to get an SGP in the Hornets versus Grizzlies. Check out the Betting Pros same game parlay builder. You can combine multiple bets within a single NBA game. And the cool part is you can leverage different insights depending on what makes the most sense to you, right? You can leverage insights like correlated bet recommendations. How correlated are the plays together? You can look at EV ratings, which is what I did for mine. You can look at cover probability, a ton more. Perfect your betting strategy by analyzing Betting Pros correlation grades and projections. You can also stay ahead of the curve by following same game parlays placed by fellow bettors via the app as well. Start building winning parlays today at bettingpros.com/parlay. And that's all we got. Appreciate everybody who has tuned in to the stream. Appreciate everybody who's commented. You can find me my Twitter handle at JediModai, as you see on the screen here. Make sure to subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel if you are not already. Let's all win our bets today, and I'll talk to you on Friday.